Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the podcast. If you don't know this name or this individual, you need to know him. He is the man that you need to keep your eyes on for 2026. I've known him since he's been a little scrawny 210-pound bodybuilder, now coming in at maybe 275, 280 pounds. I am proud to call him a longtime friend. People know him as Colossus Kennedy. I know him as Kennedy Anyanwu, and I kill that again. I'm
Anyanwu, you were
sorry,
close, man. You were close. You did so well just there.
but dude, it's so good to see you. As we talked off air, it's been so good to finally catch up 1-on-1 here.
Yeah, and like I said, just for the viewers, originally I was supposed to be on the Arnold prediction show. A couple of things came up, so I couldn't make it. So I said, "Hey, Sean, the last time I was actually on your channel was 2022 before I did my
Yeah,
first nationals." And I said, we are due. We are due for just a one-on-one, just me and you, and let's hash it out, talk, and just basically catch up. Like Sean said, now in bodybuilding, I guess my name is coming out there, but there are a few people that have been in my corner from day one before I even ever, figured that I had something good in this. And Sean was one of those guys. So I am extremely honored to still be called your friend. You are my day one, and I can't wait for the day that I just hand you a ticket, and say, "Hey, let's go to the Olympia, or let's go to the Arnold." It'll be a blast.
I can't wait, and I'll be there in the back here, giving you a big hug when you walk away with first place.
For the Arnold, oh, if I make first place, man, I'm buying everyone dinner.
Um, so, dude, your off-season picture is like you're on another level. I know you're a little bit lighter than last year, but
Yeah.
obviously you look bigger. Like obviously the improvements are there. So how are you feeling, man?
I can bend over and tie my shoes, and I'm not out
Yes.
of breath.
So you
That's
haven't gotten to croc mode yet.
Yeah, that's the first thing. So, um, on a serious note, last off season, right? Like the goal was I had transitioned from coming out of 2023 North Americans to prepare for the 2025 season. I needed to get bigger just to get ready for the Open. So I turned pro as a heavyweight at 217 pounds.
Yep.
Um, Pro stage, it just wasn't going to be competitive. So we really, really drove up my weight, and we drove it up fast. So I peaked at like 285 that off season. If you look at the pictures or the videos back then, when I was jumping into prep, it wasn't like a solid 285 shredded, right? It was
Yep.
just, I just needed to push the weight. This year, we have a different strategy. So I was able to get the size going into prep. I maintained most of it. So that gave us the sign that, okay, we don't need to push as hard. Now we just need to refine the areas where I have some weaknesses. Let's focus on bringing those things up and keeping my condition within a relatively good distance. Because last year, I think the one thing that probably held me back from potentially winning a show was condition, right? I
Mhm.
think I could have been just a little bit tighter, and that would have put me in the winning circle with some of the shows. So rather than getting too heavy this year, so the prep doesn't have to be driving down from that 285, doesn't have to be as difficult, put me in a relatively decent place where I don't have to suffer and really start losing body parts and still maintain and bring the improvements that we've worked so hard on this last year.
So what are people looking to see this year? What improvements have you made if you want to share?
Yeah, first is probably saw a little bit on the off season update. My back, um, Sean. I'm not one of these guys that I'm going to say, oh, watch, I'm going to bring a brand new package this year. Like this, is what I'll tell you: the way things are going, if they continue to progress at this rate, in the next 2 years, my back will be my best body part
Wow,
on my
okay.
entire physique. The rates that it's growing, and just the improvements from this off season, it will be my best body part in the next 2 years. That's the one place that has really packed on a lot of muscle from last year. And then again, my quads have come up too. Just the sweep overall from my quads, they're just a lot better. I picked a lot of different movements this year compared to last year. Just with the more access that I have here, I'm able to use different things just to focus on better training, and it's really really improved what my look overall is kind of going to look like.
Did you have to find like a new gear, a new mental gear, or has it always been like there for you?
Nah, like honestly, I've been this way since,
Okay.
since before I even started bodybuilding. Like my sister, we were talking the other day, and she actually brought up something when I was a kid that we were laughing about. I used to eat the same thing. If I When I was a kid, if I liked a meal,
Yep.
I would eat the same thing till I got tired of it. Like my mom would try to feed me something else, I wouldn't eat it. I would just keep eating the same thing constantly. So it's like she was like, you're not any different from when we were younger, like you're literally doing the same. She's like, you ever have variety in your meals and stuff like that? I'm like, no. So basically it's kind of the same thing, right? Like I just kind of feel like sometimes bodybuilding chooses the person,
Yep.
rather than kind of the other way around. And yeah, I just kind of feel like, yeah, this isn't a I've never had to will myself to go and train, or
Okay.
will myself to diet, or will myself to do this. It's just been a part of me since as long as I can remember.
How's the food? Because I remember you saying that you would grow, but you really didn't have to push the food extremely, if I remember that right.
Yeah, yeah. So last year I pushed food a lot
Okay.
to get to that 285. This year, no, I haven't. Um, I've the food has been very moderate. 300 grams of rice on a meal, 8 ounces of meat, 8 ounces of ground turkey, 8 ounces of chicken. For bodybuilder, 275, 277. That's nothing,
Yeah.
So the meals have been very moderate, which has really been good because I want to bring in my midsection is one of my stronger body parts. So I want to bring an actual more chiseled midsection this year to the stage. So we don't want anything that's kind of making me, have my gut stick out, for example,
Yeah.
because I'm just so full. And that's part of it with this one. So I haven't pushed food at all.
Obviously, I would think too, you're in a mental area that's really good because, as we discussed, you went from ice cold Jersey, especially at this time of year, to Texas. You're sponsored by Animal. You're with Gasp. I don't know who else you're with, but I know life in general has got to be just great for you.
Yeah, shout out to Carlo Filippone from the
Oh
Chicken
yes.
Pound.
Okay.
He delivers me chicken, and he's been in my corner too. All my East Coast supporters, man. So shout out Carlo Filippone from Jersey with the Chicken Pound. So he's also one of my sponsors, and then of course Animal and Gasp. Uh, and I'm not making like a hell of a living from bodybuilding, right? Like where I'm driving fancy cars and massive mansions and stuff like that, like you see on Instagram. But it's nice to be at this stage now, like compared to
Yep.
when, we had our first interview. Bodybuilding pays for itself, you know. My food, everything kind of pays for itself. And it's because of these guys, Animal, Gasp, Chicken Pound, that are in my corner that allow me to be able to not have that kind of financial burden of, oh, my food is up. You've seen the grocery prices, the economy, all the grocery prices out there, right? Like I don't have to worry about that stuff because these guys are taking care of me. So at least I have utmost nothing but gratitude to all three companies for continuing to support me.
Kenny, and not a lot of people know. I don't want to let the cat out too much, but obviously you've got a tremendous day job. You
Yep.
work in computers. I mean, how are they with the bodybuilding lifestyle?
Okay, I got a story for you. So I was at work one day and I got a message on Teams, and one of the guys I know at work, he sent me a link, and he's like, "Dude, is this you?" And it was me with Animal. It was like an Animal video.
Oh no.
And I was like, yeah, it's kind of me, like he's like, dude, like you're a pro bodybuilder, like I didn't know, and all this stuff. And I'm like, yeah, I don't really talk about it. I try to keep both worlds separate,
Yep.
in a little bit of sense. So I don't really talk about it at work, so to say. But yes, I have a day job, and now that I'm getting into the bigger trenches of bodybuilding, like the real hardcore, going for the Olympia level, I'll be honest, Sean, it's good to have that separation sometimes.
Yeah.
You know, like I'm in an area where, Gasp is here. I see a lot of pro bodybuilders all the time. This area is like bodybuilding constantly. And
Hmm.
if you don't have something that kind of takes you out of that bubble, you kind of start to lose touch with reality.
Yeah.
And I'm not one of those people, and it's very, very prevalent in our industry, right? Like people get into this, bodybuilding is my life. I
Hmm.
live, breathe, and I don't do anything else. I have no other interests. I feel like that's dangerous. It's
Yeah.
very,
Yeah.
very dangerous. So, from a mental perspective, just for myself, it's nice that I have that, to be able to just separate bodybuilding. If I, after a show, if I wanted to take a week off and not think about bodybuilding and just go to work and just be a normal person, I can do it,
Yeah.
which
Yeah.
is, it's very important at this level, with, I didn't understand the kind of pressure that you can get once, you know, pages and news channels and stuff start to see your name, and the
Yeah.
expectation of this person, what are they going to do in this show, things like that. And the spotlight that's there to celebrate you is the same spotlight that's there when you're trying to hide, if things didn't go the way you planned it. So it's always good to have something outside of bodybuilding that you can kind of, um, throw this in a closet for a little bit of time and focus on life outside of this, because there is a life outside of bodybuilding that, unfortunately, for a lot of bodybuilders, they don't realize till they're retired, and they're
Yes.
starting to just catch up on that. The friends they left, or, relationship, maybe their relationship, they only had friends that were in bodybuilding. They get out of bodybuilding, they have no one else. Their girlfriends were in bodybuilding, they competed with them, the relationship doesn't work anymore. You hear those stories all the time. So it's good to, I just think it's good to have a balance on that perception of life, in this sport.
Yeah. And you got to keep it real because obviously you've got a beautiful woman in your corner that you've been with for years, and you got to
Hell
keep
yeah.
her in focus too.
Hell yeah. And she's competing at the Arnolds in powerlifting this
Nice.
year. So I'm really, really excited for her, and I'm looking forward to it. And hopefully at the end of this year, we can go on a vacation, go on a vacation somewhere, forget this stuff for a little bit, and just focus a little bit on life, focus a little bit on life.
So Kennedy, before we jump into the hot topics of the show here with the picks here, you want to let us know what shows we can look forward to you looking forward to seeing this year?
Yeah. So I'll be in Tampa. I'm going to be starting this season in Tampa. That's about July 31st.
Okay.
They call it the the death row competitions. Every man and his sister is in these shows, right? So I'm going to be going 3 for 3 in 3 weeks. So Tampa first, and then Atlanta will be the following week, and then I'll be finishing up at Texas, and then God willing, I'll be doing my fourth show at the Olympia.
And Atlanta's Linda Murray show? Do I remember that right?
That's the Linda Murray show. Yeah, they have an
Yeah.
open this year. They've got an
Okay.
open this year, so I'm hoping to go there. And I also have family in Atlanta, so it'd be nice for them to see me compete for the first time. So it all just kind of falls into the good timeline that I think would work for me.
Refresh my memory. So the qualifications, you just win a pro show when you get into the O, right? It's not because classic you have to win two pro shows, but the open you just won, right? Still.
Yeah, yeah. The Open is still king. Classic. There's just so many competitors,
Yep.
so they have to create a system where they can curb the amount of people that are going to be at the Olympia. For
Okay.
the Open, there's not so many shows like Classic, so you only hear of the big shows in Classic, right? The ones that are tacked onto the Open shows, but there's like a show every other week going on in Classic that you never even hear anything about. That's why you find out there's 50 guys to competition come Olympia time. Open's not like that, so we only have just the same shows. You win one of those, which is very, very difficult to do. You win
Yep.
one, you go to DO.
I almost feel like Tampa is just as competitive as like the Texas shows.
Tampa and Texas are probably probably the most competitive shows right now, um, in the United States shows for sure. It's those two, just because it's closer to the Olympia. It's summertime. A lot of the quote unquote perennial Olympians have already qualified in other shows. So all the other guys like me that are kind of trying to go for the seconds,
Yep.
we're all scrambling to get that qualification, you know. So the show ends up being a dogfight. I think the last 2 years, average amount of competitors for open has been like 23 guys. You know, an open show, 23 people. That's insane. I was at Texas Pro this year. I kid you not, Sean. You know when they line people up on the stage before
Yeah,
they
yeah.
actually do the first call outs after the group comparisons? There were 3 rows,
Jeez.
3 rows for open bodybuilding. I thought I was watching nationals. I was like, this is insane. You know?
Um, so prep starts in what, a couple of weeks, I would think.
Yeah, a couple of weeks. So we have
Okay.
about four more weeks. I'm gonna end my off season is actually ending this week coming up
Okay.
after the Arnolds. Take a little bit of a break for about a month, so 4 or 5 weeks, and then from there we're jumping straight into prep. It's prep time, baby.
And you're still with Andrew, right?
Yeah,
That's
I'm still
another
with my
thing
day.
too. That's another thing too, brother. You've been a ride or die with him since almost day one. Like that's a rarity sometimes too, finding longevity with a coach.
Yeah, I mean, Sean, just like you know, I think it's very important. The people that were there for you in the beginning, listen, you've been in my corner. You understand. Like people see externally online, oh, Colossus Kennedy. You knew we had those conversations. You know, I had a lot of doubts of if I could even really do this thing. You know, and you're one of those people. Andrew is also one of those people that see me through all the way till
Yeah.
today. You know, so for me, I owe that man a pro win, regardless of whatever happens down the line. I owe him a pro win for just believing in me and getting me all the way to this point. You know, I think it's very important to, and that's something that goes on said now. You know, with a lot of the athletes and coaches, things that have been going on and the dramas that's been going on. Listen, no coach is perfect. I'm just going to go ahead and say it out here. You
Yeah.
go to a different coach, you think the grass is greener on the other side. It's not. You know, you're going to have other problems. But more important than that, the relationships that you've developed with these people. You know, Andrew, I've been there for his child. You know, when his child turned his child's first birthday, I was there. I was there when they had the naming of the kid. You know, things like that. Like
Yeah.
these are relationships. You know, so and this man turned me pro. He was there when no one would pick up the phone to ask. I emailed a lot of coaches when I started. No one would pick up the phone to even look at me, but he took me in. You know, so I owe that man a pro win. So yeah, we're still going. We're still going.
You're smart, brother. Just don't play the size game, because I know sometimes people lose light of, okay, I got to put on 5 pounds, 10 pounds, but I'm going with that. I'll leave it at that. You're a smart guy.
No, and that's what I said in that my post. You know, even if people retcon me, they were like, "You're a mass monster. What are you talking about?" But it's like I don't think that I'm size is my game to play,
Yep.
right? I think the minute I lose my lines, that's it. You know, I've lost the game entirely. So I'm never going to be as big as a Samson, you know, or an Andrew. So I have to play my game, which is good lines with a very densely packed muscular physique,
Hmm.
which not a lot of people are playing. You know, Derek is more of a mass monster. He has shape, but he's more of a mass monster on the shorter side.
Yep.
I think someone that was playing my game, but probably hasn't been playing it as well, just like me, is probably like a Carlos Thomas Jr. I think
Hmm.
we're kind of in very similar gameplay strategies. Short, packed with a ton of muscle and just good shape that you just can't find. You know, so
Yeah. Yeah.
if I can bring that in, I think that I'll be one of the more unique looks on that stage.
And the unfortunate matter is Carlos is out of the game right now, so one less competitive for you.
I don't think so. John Jewett's actually coaching him.
Okay, because I know he went dark. I think he deactivated his Instagram, but
Yeah,
I love the guy. I thought the guy was the nicest guys in the world, physique and personality, just like you, dude. But
yeah. No, Carlos is my boy. We haven't talked in a bit. And like I said, talking about the pressures of bodybuilding and stuff, I know last season really affected him. People were really
Yeah.
cruel. But I think for him, mentally speaking, I think it's good he deactivated, but I don't think he's done. I know that
Okay, good.
He's working with John Jewett, so I don't know if he's competing this year. We'll see.
Okay.
Maybe he's going to be on one of those one of those summer shows with the dog fights.
That's
We'll
it.
see what
That's it.
happens. We'll see what happens.
All right, brother. So the Arnold this year, purse of
Mhm.
$750,000 for the winner. Okay. Asking you, this is the highest purse ever. Do you see competitors like taking protocols to a different level, or do you think they're still like keeping things the way they should be, regardless of the prize money? Does that make sense?
Uh, I'm trying to think. Yeah, it kind of makes sense. I still think that people are going to do things kind of the same way they've always done things.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like at the end of the day, if you want to win a show, there's only so much there's only so much you can push. Listen, guys are already pushing without the
Yeah.
700 grand. Yeah,
True.
there's only so much you can push before it's like, okay, there's nothing more left. So I don't really think so. I
Okay.
think that I think that we're just at a stage now in bodybuilding where um the gameplay on stage has become so refined.
Hmm.
Guys like Hadi, they've perfected your peak. Derek, he brings kind of different looks, but he's pretty good. Martin is maybe a little bit more inconsistent. Nick has been consistent in the past, but only recently he's had a little bit of shakeups, and then Andrew's getting even better. So I don't think that we're going to see anything really like drastic or out of this world.
Okay.
Guys compete a lot more now, so it gives people the ability to kind of hone in on that peaking process. So I don't
Yep.
think we're going to see any kind of like extremes going on, with like pushing things and things like that.
Okay. Okay. So you mentioned some names. I think it's a four pony race here. So I don't want to start with them first, but maybe some of the other dark horses that maybe people aren't talking about. I like Mo Fuda.
Yeah,
I don't know if you have him placing in top six or like what your thoughts are of Mo.
I personally think that Mo Fuda is a sleeper in this lineup. I don't understand why he doesn't get as much hype as a lot of people. He's got a beautiful physique. He's a pro show winner. He's already made it to the Olympia. I know that he wasn't too happy last year with his placing at the Olympia. He expected to do a little bit better, but regardless, that was his first one.
Yeah.
He's got a hell of a physique, and I think Mo puts a lot of pressure on himself. He
Okay.
puts a lot of pressure on himself, but that's what makes the best athletes. You know, so I think that he's going to be in the top six. I'll give you my placings. He's gonna knock. I think he'll be ahead of Brandeo, personally speaking.
Okay.
He's definitely going to be ahead of Rafa, and I think probably like he's going to be around the same place. Maybe Curry is probably going to be probably after Curry on the lineup.
Okay. So you're thinking sixth place then?
Yeah, yeah, most likely.
Okay. I guess we'll talk a little bit about Brandon Curry. Unfortunately, he doesn't post a lot lately, so there's not much really to compare. But I mean, he's 42, maybe 43, still kind of young. I give him credit for still going, but again, is the lineup's getting deeper and deeper for the poor guy.
It's listen. I always say this. Brandon. People say Brandon. Oh, Brandon is just as good as he was when he won the Olympia. It's just the lineups have just gotten so much better since then. I would even say
Yep.
he's better now than when he actually won the Olympia. You know, it's just the lineups have just become so deep. So yeah, I mean, I think Brandon is pretty much going to be around the fifth spot. I think he can if Nick is comes in with the same way he did at the Olympia, he'll beat him. But I don't think Nick is going to do that because I think he should have been ahead at the Olympia. But yeah, I think Brand is probably going to be number 5 on that list to me. And listen, um, my problem with bodybuilding sometimes is like if someone is quiet on social media, everyone kind of forgets how good they are as a
Yep.
bodybuilder. it's almost like bodybuilding has become more of a social media game than what is actually on stage, you
Yep.
know? So people don't give Brandon his flowers just because he's not posting physique updates all the time on social media, which is unfortunate, but that's just the name of the game now, you know?
And you got to remember, people are so fickle. It's not. You're as good as your last event, and people forget. Brandon won in 19. He won in 22. He's a two-time Arnold Classic champion. No
Yep.
slouch, and a former Mr. Olympian. I mean, that's a
Yep.
good resume to end on when he finally decides to bow out.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, at this point, I think he's doing it for the love of the game. Get as
Yep.
much money as you can, till the body can't hold on no more. Just keep getting the money. If you continue to place as a top five, top six guy at the Olympia, I don't see why you should stop. Until you start slipping a little bit forward backwards. Below the top 10. So I think he's just doing the game at this point because he loves it. You know.
Yeah, yeah. A lot of controversy around Martin. I mean, over his statements of knocking social media channels to a point. I'm not going to hate the guy because I feel like a lot of the social media channels or those channels are a lot more negative than positive. Um, I mean, he's old, but he's been kind of quiet as of late. He posted something in a doorway the other day, but I don't know how current it was. But long winded. Where do you see Martin this year, Kennedy?
I mean, I'll start with the social media thing first. I mean, what is wrong with someone saying that they just don't like they don't like the social media journalism? Like, I feel like a lot of the journalists took it to heart.
Yes.
I know, yeah, he put it in harsh words, like journalists, all the journalists are trash and whatnot, but we all understand what he's trying to say. Like, he hasn't really been the golden boy, in particular, in the light of social media with bodybuilding for the last couple of years, ever since he turned pro. The Andrew Jack drama saga that happened, and then with the one with Giles Thomas of slapping the phone recently. So, yeah, I mean, his actions have put him in that position. Do fully agree, but at the same time, he has a right to feel that social media. He doesn't like social
Yep.
media journalism. And both things can be true, you know. So I think that for Martin is one of those guys. I don't know, honestly, because the physique he brought in at Prague is good enough to stand with the top three.
Okay.
So he's good enough to stand with Andrew and Hadi in that top three with the physique he brought at Prague. The question with Martin is if he can replicate that same look, because listen, there are a couple of peaks that have happened in the recent years in bodybuilding that you think, I don't know if this peak can be replicated. Number one was Hadi Arnold's 2024.
Hmm.
That peak that he brought is still the best bodybuilder on the planet today.
Okay.
That, and second is Martin at Prague. I don't know if he can ever replicate that peak, but if he can, then he's definitely in the mix. But for right now, I'm probably going to put him after Andrew. After Andrew on the lineup, I think Martin would probably be third, but he has a good shot of going anywhere between one to three. But if I had to put money on it, I'm probably going to put him in third place.
Okay. The other everyone else kind of had him in third as well. Mike, Jay, and myself all in third
Yeah,
place. So that's an interesting one.
yeah.
Um, Obviously just announced. I shouldn't have just announced, but Hadi is here in the U.S. To me, there
So
was a
far,
big question mark if he was going to make it or not.
in a
Um,
secret location.
yes, but Kennedy, we're not. I brought this up. We're not in his brain, but he lost his sponsor. He's under a lot of political scrutiny. We'll just leave it at that. I mean, does he have the mental fortitude to come in or put all that stuff on the back end and still kick ass?
Another thing too, no one is talking about. I don't know how this affects his net worth,
Yeah.
but the Iranian currency has flattened out to zero. It's not worth anything.
Okay.
So all the money he's made, um, I don't know if it's still in dollars. I don't know. I don't have his asset portfolio.
Yeah. Yeah.
But if all that stuff is in Iranian currency, he's basically at zero right now, you
Yeah.
know? So I don't know what that does to a person, personally. But at the same time, if you look at Hadi's story, Hadi wasn't born with a silver spoon in his mouth, you know?
Hmm.
He wasn't born with a silver spoon. The guy was, I think he was like a country farmer or something like that. He, his story is remarkable. If he could ever get someone to translate everything and talk about his story, because I've only heard snippets,
Sure.
that to me doesn't seem like a guy that this is his first rodeo. You
Yeah.
know, he's been through a lot to get to where he is in his life. And listen, when your back's against the wall, you only have two options, right? It's either you crumble or you fight. And I think that's where he's at. This is no longer isn't it just about his country. It's also for his family at this point. The guy was in Dubai um, before he actually flew over, to the United States. Who even knows if he can go back to the country and is considered to be safe to even go
Yeah.
back to the country? We don't know these things, right? We don't even know if he's got extended family in the country. We don't know his affiliations politically, how that
Hmm.
affects him. Um, so there's a lot that's going on. Like you said, he lost a big chunk of his income coming in. Again, the Iranian currency has hit the floor. Who knows what assets that he has that's worth that in that currency? So there's a lot of things on the table where this money for him, I don't think it's just about the trophy at this point. I think the money is very important,
Yeah.
for him. So I think when you're in that position, it puts you in kind of like it puts you in like a fight or flight mode. And I think that he's probably just being the nature of who he is as a person. I still think he's going to deliver.
So where do you have him?
So before I say where I have him, last year,
Oh, here we go.
last year when we had this conversation, we were like, "Oh, is Hani still training?" We were like, "Well, you picked him up from the airport."
Right. Right.
Now, obviously, he's no longer with Evogen, so I don't know if Hani's definitely not training him. He's definitely not coaching him. I know that for sure. Well, I don't know that for sure. He could still be.
Okay.
Who knows? Who knows? But I still have Hadi in first. Listen, if, I,
Okay.
if I'm putting money on this, Hadi, it's gonna take a lot to take that guy out of first place. The only guy that can do it right now is Andrew.
Okay.
Um, but Andrew, for me, I still think that from the side shots is where Andrew loses out a lot.
Okay.
When I put both of them on stage one on one, Andrew's strongest shots are his front shots. Hadi's strongest shots are his front shots. From the back, um, Hadi is not as conditioned, but neither is Andrew.
Hmm.
So, it's still split down the middle. And from the side, Hadi is better from the side. So, just looking at it, bodybuilding analytics, I still think Hadi is still in the runnings for this one. So if I was a betting man, I'm still putting Hadi in first place.
So how much longer can Hadi, how do I say this, keep competing? Because a lot of us feel that his physique is maxed out, that he cannot afford to
Yeah.
put more size on. So if anything, it's going to be more maybe condition. But how much more can he come in conditioned this role, next role? Because as you said, 24 was his best. He can't grow anymore. What's left for him?
Nothing. There's nothing left. But because there's nothing left doesn't mean that that's the end of his career.
Of course.
I think that, the only guys that have the potential to supersede him at this point is Andrew, Samson, Martin. Derek, I don't even know. Derek, I'm not sure because Derek himself, size wise, is kind of maxed out.
Yeah.
So Derek, it's more about improving his conditioning from the front, and I don't know if he can do that. I think that's a genetic thing. I don't think it's a training or whatever, PMMA, whatever. I don't. It's
Yeah. Yeah.
genetic. He can't improve it. So I think it's more of a time game, right? I think that Hadi's best, what he has right now, is still going to be competitive for the next at least minimum 2 years.
Okay.
Um, you know, I think once Andrew gets into his own and Samson gets into his own consistently, it's going to be a battle between those two guys. I think we all see the writing on the wall.
Yeah.
And there's nothing that, quite frankly, anyone, myself or any other bodybuilder on the planet right now could do about it. Unfortunately, it's just the name of the game. But if they get
Yeah.
into that, and if they get to that point, that's the ultimate question.
So you rattled off 4 names, but there's a name that you did not mention, and I'll bring it up here. Let's talk about Nick for a minute.
Mhm.
Self-coaching himself this year. Um, I mean, how important is a win for him, Kennedy? Because, again, based on what I said earlier, everybody is, you're only as good as your last win. And yes, he won the New York Pro last year, but again, his Olympia showings have been kind of substellar, and I hate to say that.
Yeah, I think that, for Nick winning this show, listen, every show Nick does, winning is going to do wonders for him. There's no bodybuilder on this planet that doesn't have as much, things at stake
Yes.
as Nick Walker. You know, there's always something at stake for Nick. It's either his coming back from an injury. Some big stuff happened with drama. Listen, he's the most popular bodybuilder on the planet. Of course, it's gonna increase the level of dependency and the level of stakes when it comes to his own potential. But if I'm being completely honest, just for myself, I think that you know that the odds are really against Nick on this one. You know,
Okay.
um, in the past, Nick could win because he was the biggest guy. Muscle per square inch, Nick was hands down the biggest guy on stage. So your shape didn't matter. He comes in there, he's outsizing you. The competition is caught up.
Yep.
The last show that he had, him and Martin at the New York Pro 2024 was very, very close. He edged out Martin. Martin's gotten bigger since then.
Yeah.
Andrew Jack has gotten bigger since then. Samson is bigger. Uh, Derek and Hadi have never lost to Nick. So it's an uphill battle for him
Okay.
on this show. And being that, where we are in the climate, um, conditioning is his game too. Hadi is the conditioning king. So there's not a lot of things that he can bring to the table. Just me looking as an analyzing the show, it's very hard for me to say he's going to bring a lot of things to the table that someone else isn't bringing a little bit better. You
Okay.
know, which makes it very difficult. But again, I'm never going to be out here and say someone can't win a show.
Of
Anything is
course.
possible. This is bodybuilding, and I really love Nick. But yeah, it's an uphill battle. It's an uphill battle on this one.
So you putting him in fourth or out of six?
Fourth. He's going to be a
Okay.
fourth.
Okay.
Oh yeah,
All
Nick's
right.
not going out of top six. Not anytime soon.
But again, I just wonder though. He's got his diehard fans, but I wonder if sooner or later, never wish ill will, but if they're going to start turning, saying, "Listen, you're winning the smaller ones, but when are you going to finally win the big one?"
That's bodybuilding. The fans are
Yeah.
cruel. Like I don't think the fans. I mean, the fans get to everyone, but I don't think Nick is banking the stakes on the fans. Fans wake up today and they're your best friend, and the next day they're gonna hate you. They've already turned on him once. It's not the first rodeo. So yeah, I just think that he just needs to do what he needs to do. If you look at even the trajectory of kind of his persona of when he first stepped on the scene till now, he doesn't say the kind of things he used to say when he first came on. Like
Yeah.
I'm going to beat everyone. I'm Mr. Olympia. He's a little bit more reserved, these days because listen, we all understand the competition is changed. It's completely changed. So
Yeah.
yeah.
I was waiting for him to be a little tongue in cheek and say his mom was going to be his new coach, a la back with Grandma and Rolly back in the day.
Grandma was good though.
True, true. But yes, it would have been a joke, but we all know how Mama loves Nick and vice versa. And there's
Yeah.
nothing wrong with loving your mother, but still.
Grandma. I haven't heard that name in a while.
I don't know if she's still
Uh,
alive, but anyway, yeah, I didn't know if that was real or not either back in the day, but I
she
bought it for what
was.
it's worth.
She's a pretty renowned
She
coach in the
legit?
Netherlands. Sybil. Yeah, she's a pretty renowned coach in the Netherlands. But I mean, she brought Rolly onto the scene. I still think Rolly had his best looks with Grandma. If I'm being
Yeah,
completely
okay.
honest. But yeah, he. That's a. Some people viewing this show wouldn't even know who she is, which is crazy.
Oh my gosh. And the last one, Kennedy, I think we all know where he's going, is good old Andrew here. He's made
Yeah.
the improvements. I look at this picture here, and actually I see Rolly just with the triceps and the bicep development. I don't know what it is. I see Rolly's arms there.
Yeah, his arms are taking their own independence, man. They're he's definitely changed a lot. I still have Andrew in second on this one. Um,
Okay.
I still think that again, the ultimate showdown that we're all waiting for is Samson versus Andrew, but it's not yet. It's not yet here. I don't think it's here today. So I'm
Do you
leaving it in second.
do you think Andrew needs to, let's say, come in second or first to almost validate his Olympia win to show maybe it wasn't a fluke?
Who, Andrew or Samson?
Andrew.
He came third at the Olympia. Are
No,
you
I
are
know,
you
but he's getting better and better now to show that like he's really here to play.
Yeah, I think he needs to beat Hadi to put himself into that conversation.
Okay.
That because everyone knows that Samson of this year was not the Samson that we know he could be, right?
Yep.
So Samson coming back to his original self next year, he's in the mix for the Olympia. For Andrew to step into that conversation, he needs to beat the gatekeepers, which
Yeah.
are Hadi and essentially Derek, right? Who's the
Yep.
current Mr. Olympia champion. So I think for Andrew, he has to beat Hadi at this show because again, this is not a four-man comparison, three-man comparison. He gets a chance to step on stage with Hadi one-on-one. If
Yep.
he's number one or number two on that day, he gets to have a direct comparison with Hadi, which he never gets a chance at the Olympia. He's always on the side. They always put him on the side, mixing them up. He gets a one-on-one chance. And if he can prove with this opportunity that he's the guy that deserves that title, you bet your ass Mr. Olympia is coming around. Andrew is going to be in talks to winning the whole thing for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah. Is there anybody? So we quickly went over Rafa, and then we also have Akeem, and then Anthony Williams, who was the amateur classic winner last year. Is there anybody that maybe will surprise us this year, whether it's in the top six or not? That maybe someone might leapfrog or really surprise us.
Anthony Williams.
You think
Anthony
so?
Williams.
First show, you think he's going to do some damage?
I'm telling you, I know Anthony. John Jewett is doing a fabulous job with him. Listen, is he going to be in the top five? Probably not this year. It's his amateur, it's his first pro debut. But I think Anthony is probably going to beat some guys at this show. I think Hassan's in trouble. If he can get a chance to stand next to Brandeo, if he's in good, if they give him a chance to stand next to Brandeo, he's just as tall, just got just as beautiful shape as he does.
Yep.
He's definitely in the conversation. The only thing I don't know is when that call out happens, I'm looking at it across the stage on a lineup. You've got him next to Hassan, you've got him next to Akeem. Does that kind of expose him a little bit because it's his first show as a pro? Sometimes subconsciously, you know how these things go. They may say, "Oh, he's not ready to be at that next level," because you've got two of the thickest guys in the league standing right next to you. You
Yep.
know, um, but I think if he's given a chance to compare to like a Brandeo, get himself out of that pool of people, the Hassans and the Akeems, I don't think he compares very well to those two because they're just so thick,
Sure.
right? When you give him a chance to stand next to Mo, to Brandon, and then to Mo and Brandon, who are a little bit more aesthetic, it will give him a chance to shine a little bit more, and it will give him a fighting chance to move up within the actual competition. But I don't know. I don't know if they'll give him that opportunity, depending on the group comparisons. Who knows?
Kennedy, if this was you win the Arnold Armature last year, would you jump into the classic this year?
If this was me,
Yeah, if this was you, or would you take the year off like you did originally and grow and make your refinements?
I would take the year. I wouldn't do it
Really?
personally.
Okay.
Yeah, but again, I'm not an Anthony. Anthony, I think, has the opportunity. He can do it. It depends on the type of physique you are. Anthony's a
Yep.
lot taller than I am, so I think like it gives you an edge when you're a little bit taller, even if he doesn't have as much muscle as some of the guys on stage. He's not going to appear like he doesn't belong. You
Yeah.
know,
Okay.
a guy like me, I feel like I have to be I have to be a lot more refined to find myself outside of the bottom pool of the army. Because if I'm going there as my pro debut, the way I'm thinking about it, anything above last place is a win,
Sure.
right? Realistically, as a pro debut. Um, but for myself, like I said, I'm looking at the bottom pack in this competition. If I don't get a chance to compare to the Moes or the Brandons, I don't have a shot because the other two guys are just they're going to expose how new I am, right? Just because I don't have that kind of thickness that they do, the muscle maturity. So I wouldn't do it. I personally, I just think that for a guy like me, you got to climb, choose maybe a different path, a different show, and then you can kind of set yourself. But for a guy like Anthony, I think he absolutely can. There are just certain physiques that can make that jump. You know, like an Andrew, um, taller stature. You impose presence on stage. You can jump into some of these shows and still make a dent a little bit.
Yeah, because you're what obviously it's a 50-50 because you look at it from your standpoint, but then you look at it is it's the Arnold Classic stage, and
Yeah,
again, as you know, you're one injury away from retirement. It's like, do
yeah.
you take that year off and hope that you'll be invited, or do you just jump in it and just like you said, if as long as you're not last.
But
So
it depends, right? Like it could make or break you too. Look at Cody Montgomery. He did the Arnold as his pro debut as an open pro bodybuilder, and he
yeah,
retired after that because, you know, I know Anthony's not like this, but some people, especially once you turn pro, you have that high that listen, I've arrived, and then you realize that like there's another whole level that you have to climb to get to. It could really put a damper on some people's motivation to keep going, you know.
yeah,
So
okay,
as long as you have a good mental mental realistic perception of where you really are, you know, turning pro, then maybe yeah, it's a good opportunity to do it. But the way I kind of see things for myself, I know where I can go in this league is if I'm gonna go to the Arnold, I'm not going because I won. I'm not going because I won. I'm going because I was invited because I'm that good. You know,
yeah, okay,
um, there's certain stages that when I want to get to those stages, I know that I'm in the mix. I'm not just gonna be there just to be there. You know, the Arnold for me was the New York Pro. Like that was a show I grew up watching, you know, in bodybuilding. So it was important for me to debut at New York. But the Arnold is just a very different level that I feel like I'm gonna need more time and a little bit more shows under my belt to step into that.
Kennedy, I think the competitive landscape is the hottest it's been for quite a while now, and I've been very vocal that as a guy of the '90s, guy of the 2000s, I feel like the late teens kind of fizzled a little bit, but I think now COVID and beyond, I think bodybuilding is in a great position. Do you think we will ever see like multiple time Arnold Willers winners? We had Dex at 5, Flex at 4, Jay at 3. Do you ever see multiples, or is maybe Brandon one of the last multiples? If you had to be a betting man,
I mean, just like you said, and Derek is oh man, I feel so bad for Derek. Anything that guy says, he just gets flamed, man. There's just a video he's under fire right now for this exact same thing you just said, which I
yeah,
agree. I think that it is more competitive today than it's ever been since the early after the late 90s. I would say after the late 90s into, you know, the early 2000s till now. This is as a whole as a group, there's just a lot more people with the talent pool is just a lot more. There's just a lot more people there.
yeah,
So I do agree with you there. Um, in terms of multiple Mr. Olympias or multiple Arnold Classic winners, I don't know if that person has emerged to show themselves yet. The
yeah.
only reason why
Okay,
I say that is, you know, Samson is in his late 30s. I think he's going to be 40 this year. Andrew Jack is already in his 40s. They're the two people I think that would have had the potential to do it. Um, and outside of that, we don't have another person who is just a dominant person coming out of the woodworks. But again, these people have a way of rearing themselves after every couple of years, you know, every couple of decades. You just get that anomaly that just kind of shows up. But I don't think we have that right now in bodybuilding. So I'd say within the next 6 years, it's still going to change hands until that person shows up.
Take yourself out of the equation. Who's going to be a future Mr. Olympia that's competing now? And I'll tell you what Mike Van Rot said.
Future Mr. Olympia that's competing now, Martin, I think, has a
Okay,
chance to win it.
that was
For
Mike's.
going,
Okay,
yeah, Martin has a chance to win it. I've always said this. If he really gets things together, I think Carlos is a potential Mr. Olympia. I've always seen him as that.
really?
Yeah, I think if Carlos, the only thing missing on Carlos is his back and conditioning. Everything else is world class. So I think Carlos has that opportunity too if everything comes together. Let me see. In terms of newer folks, right? You're talking
Yeah,
based on newer folks.
within the last couple of years that are up and coming, that maybe
Okay.
are just tipping the iceberg.
Um, so I said Carlos, I said Martin. I'm looking at the other aspect, the other people in the other. Huh. Remind me of who else was outside of the top 10 of the Olympia. We had Jordan, we had Urs, we had Mo, we had who else? Who else is outside the top
Yeah,
10?
there was a lot. Wow, I'm trying to think now too myself. You just caught me off guard with that one, but
Yeah.
I like Urs too. I don't know if Urs will be an Olympian, but I like the way he's looking.
I think structure wise, I don't know, man. You gotta have some cannon arms, man. I don't know about Mr. Olympia for that one. Yeah, I'd say at least to just sticks in my head when I've seen these guys and I'm like, man, they have a chance to do this. Is probably, Martin
Big
is
Big
definitely.
Vito, Tonio. Those like the top 10 that we're missing a little bit.
Yeah. The only reason why I wouldn't say Vito is I just feel like
Rizzo.
Vito's had a few problems for how young he
Yeah.
is. I don't know if he can. I don't know if he'll be able to, get to that level of ascending the throne, so to say. But I got to be honest. Yeah, I'm looking. I'm looking at 8 years down the line.
Yeah. Okay.
But immediately coming up, I know Andrew can do it. I know Martin could do it. Um, Going a little bit further, I've said this before. People laugh, but if he really was really really serious, right? I think Rubiel, if he came in stripped condition, man, he's got a fighting chance. I've been saying it. People,
Dude, he'd have to stop training legs for like 2 years.
Rubiel's got a fighting chance, man. That guy has got the most muscle out of everyone. You'd have to streamline a little bit, but I think he can do it. But yeah,
Okay.
outside of those people, I think it's Martin. If I'm looking like projected, like my generation,
Yeah.
um,
Because Martin's
the
like
only
your age. Martin's like 28, 29. Well, I know you're a little bit older, but I
yeah,
think Martin's still late 20s.
yeah. Martin has a potential to. I think he's gonna hit it, a little bit earlier than people anticipate. And then I would say Carlos, if he gets. I'm just looking at the physique, the frame.
Yeah.
I feel like Carlos is one of those guys. All he needs is just the back, and he's a Mr. Olympia, just the way I see it.
But Kennedy, are we starting to shift more towards the taller people now? Like when you look at the look at some of the more landscape, because you got Hadi and Derek. I don't know their size, but everybody else. I mean, now you're looking at two 6-footers in Andrew and Samson, and our Nick is I think 5'7". I don't know what Martin is, but we're
Yeah.
all looking 5'6", 5'7" plus.
I think the audience is demanding it.
Okay.
Um, but when you put them all on the bodybuilding stage, it doesn't always translate that way, right?
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
so what I mean is like you say all this and like Samson's the biggest guy on stage, right? He weighs the heaviest, but you put him in a Mr. Olympia lineup 2025 or even 2024. Derek wasn't being outmuscled by him by any shot. Hadi neither. Hadi at the Arnold neither. 2024 or 2025.
Yeah.
So yeah, height wise and off the stage, people are demanding that because that's what they see as a Mr. Olympia, and that's what they expect when they hear the name Mr. Olympia. But the reality is, when you put everyone on stage and you judge it by bodybuilding criteria, um, there's not really. I don't know if there's a very very sound logical argument to give it to them over, a Hadi or a Derek just because of height, you know.
Yeah. Okay.
Because like
So
Andrew's extremely imposing from the front, but once you turn him to the side, it's very hard to make an argument for Andrew on from the
yeah.
side
Okay.
poses, you know, which is telling, which is telling. So that's just my stance on it. It doesn't mean it's gospel, but that's just that's just kind of the way I see it. Listen, the best bodybuilders in the world. There's a reason why there's not a lot of 6-footers that have been Mr. Olympias, right? A
Yeah.
lot of the best bodybuilders in the world, you find them around the 5'8", 5'7" to the 5'9" range, right? All the
Yep.
Mr. Olympias that have ever graced the stage, they're usually within that range, and there's a reason why. It's not by coincidence by any chance,
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah,
Kennedy, one of my last questions as we wind down, put your fan hat on. What's the right amount of consecutive Olympia wins without getting exhausted? I mean, I don't think we're going to have 6, 7, 8 peats anymore. But like, what's realistic from a fan standpoint? 2 or 3, and then move on, or do you want to see like we're doing now? I feel like every year or two, it's a new winner, which is more
what do you
exciting.
mean? What do you mean
Which
from
is more
from a fan perspective? Like he deserved it, or like he's the Mr. Olympia, or I kind of want to see someone else. Is that what you're
Yeah,
saying?
exactly. So when do you get mentally fatigued where it's like, okay, look, the same guy's won it 3 years in a row. It's time for a change. Or, I want to see somebody fresh every year. I mean, where does your brain stand on that?
I mean, if I'm being completely honest, I've never liked the idea of a one dominant champion.
Okay.
It kind of made things pretty boring, man. Like I remember when Phil was winning all the time, you would do predictions. Okay, who's one? Phil. Who's two? Kai. Who's three? All right, let's start the
Yeah,
predictions.
exactly. Now it's fun.
It's kind of like it's kind of boring, So as a fan, I do enjoy the fact that there's this uh you can't predict what exactly is going to happen. That's that state of things constantly being in flux. Watching the Mr. Olympia, I do enjoy that personally.
Okay.
It's just like I watching classic. C-Bum was the best, but it's kind of like, all right, it's C-Bum and who else is next, right?
Yep.
You kind of start to just like, all right, I'm here for the C-Bum show. I'm not really here for classic. I'm here for C-Bum. That's the way it
Okay.
starts to look. But being that the title changes hands all the time, it puts a spotlight on every other competitor. And as fans, it gives us a chance to know other competitors too.
Yep.
Um, just because people listen, when you believe that you can actually win, you put in more effort. There have been a lot of stories of how like the Cormiers and all these other guys, like once Dorian and Ronnie started taking and winning, they knew they weren't going to win, so they didn't really try. Just maintain your contracts and keep going. But because the title changes hands, the level of competition is so high because everyone in that top 5, top 6 legitimately believes they have a chance to win. And in sports, I mean, that's what more do you want than solid competition?
Yeah. Okay. So I'm going to put you on the spot. You say you're an open book here, so I'm going to throw a curveball at you.
Oh yeah.
You got multiple shows coming up this year. Who are you looking forward to standing beside? And again, not bragging or anything, but whether it's a friendship, whether it's just compare physique for physique, who are some people you're looking forward to chopping it up with on stage?
Yeah. First off, my Fit Nation boys, Joe. I'm very happy with how Joe did last year. It's
He's
so
a
awesome.
tank, dude. He's a
Yeah,
tank.
yeah, yeah. I'm very happy. Joe. For people who don't know, Joe was going to retire. He just had a baby. He wasn't sure this thing was going to pan out. So the fact that he made that much success, where it's like this is a viable option for him to keep going. Um, Again, kind of what we talked about earlier in the beginning, putting bodybuilding in real life, just having a perception as a real
Yep.
human being. I think that as a friend, that made me so happy, and I honestly want the best for him. So for us to get to stand together, we both turned pro around the same time. He was the USA champion. I did North Americans, and we always joked about it, like, the time is coming. So the fact we get to do that, I'm very excited to stand next to him. Zaid King is going to be doing his pro debut, so
Oh,
I'll be
did he get
looking
his
forward.
card? I didn't realize he got his
Zaid
card.
King.
Good for him.
Oh yeah, Zaid's been a
Good.
pro now for 2 years. He's just
Okay.
been putting on the size. So I think he's going to debut around the same time and kind of stand with us on stage. So my Fit Nation boys, I'm kind of excited to do that. And then just a couple of other people like Jordan. Of course, Jordan's one of the guys who, out of my generation, has broken out.
Yeah.
So to be able to stand next to him too, I mean, we all see each other, we all train here, but to stand next to him too, I think that would be really, really awesome. Because again, when you see someone has done it, it gives everyone that inspiration and motivation that they can do it as well. you know. So that, and then just the other boys, man, Justin Abbott, Wyatt, he trains here at
Nice.
Destination too. I'd love for all of us to be on stage, and then all my other, basically the new generation guys. We're all kind of like us. We're not all tight or whatnot, but we're all kind of like rooting for each other. So to be able to stand next to a couple of them on stage, I think it'd be great. It'd be great. But those are probably the main three to come to my mind: Zayd, Jordan, and Joe. I think it'd be pretty cool. It'd be pretty cool.
Do you feel there's a little divide between some of the more established guys and the young guys, or no? Are they embracing you, embracing the upcoming guys, or no?
I can't speak for everyone, but I know for myself, I know that I've been embraced. I talk with Brett. Brett's been very, 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 very good to me. He's always, sent me words of encouragement. Hunter too. Hunter's been very good with that. Um, so like, you know, I can't speak for everyone, but I
Sure.
would say that for myself, what I've received, from even Sasan Haradi, right? Like I had a really, really good chop up with him. It's always been really, really positive. So I
Good.
don't think so. I don't think so. I think once you get to like the pro league, at least for open, and I don't know about classic or physique, for open, it feels like a brotherhood. I remember when I turned pro, Akeem, came up to me and was like, "Welcome to the brotherhood."
Love
It's
it.
very different, when you're an open pro. So it's been, and again, my experience may be very different from someone else's, but mine has been overwhelmingly positive with all the pros.
I remember when you did your first qualifier, I think Milos had chimed in, or a couple of your posts,
Yeah,
Milos had chimed in, which is like, to me, that's a big thing. You made it when Milos is chiming in on your
I know.
posts.
Oh my God, Milos knows who I am. Pinning this comment. It's gonna be there for life.
Oh my god. Well, Kennedy, again, you're a popular guy. I know you're all over. Plug your social media. I know you have a popular YouTube channel. Again, if you want to share shout outs to all your sponsors and friends, please, the floor is yours.
Absolutely. So, as you guys know, you can always follow me on Colossus Ken. There's a pun there. It's double L, not double S. People don't always realize that. So it's Colossus_Ken. That's my Instagram. You can always reach out to me there. Shoot me questions. I'm a friendly guy. YouTube as well. I upload pretty much every 3 to 4 weeks. You'll be seeing a video on there. And as we're starting prep, I'm going to be having a new series coming out on that. So follow us on YouTube. Again, my main sponsor, Animal. These guys take care of me. So if you want to support me, support them. Animal has been a very, very perennial brand in the industry, and they've been in my corner since I turned pro, pretty much. So Animal, Gasp as well, rock all the clothes, and of course my boy Carlo Filippone. If you want to get some good chicken, get some chicken pound, and that's it.
Kennedy, drop the codes too. I know you probably have some codes for Animal. Feel free to shout them out here too if you want.
Yeah, same thing. Ken 20 for Animal, Ken for Chicken Pound, and Ken 15 for Gasp. Everything is on my Instagram. If you want to use those codes, go ahead. If you don't want to, it's fine either way. Just show love. Tell them Kennedy sent you. I'm not a salesman. I'm a bodybuilder. So, just show some love. That's all that counts.
So he's coming into his second year, folks. Make sure you follow him. Believe me, if you don't know him, get to know him because he's going to be a name. He's already is a name that's being talked about, but will be continued to talk about. I consider him a good friend. We've trained together. Again, I wish you were still local, but I love you, brother, and it's always good seeing you.
Yeah, and like I said, I've told you guys, Sean owes me a trip to Dallas. I'm going to take him out here, and we're going to train. We're going to do some good stuff. So hopefully, I get to see you. And bro, like I've said before, I'll say it again publicly anywhere. You're one of my day ones, and thank you for always believing in me. Because believe me, there was a point where I didn't think I was good enough to do this, and you were one of those angel voices in my head to push me through. So I appreciate you, bro, and I always will. So always a pleasure. Always a pleasure.
Thank you, my friend. And obviously you'll be at the Arnold next week at the Cage.
Yep. Yep. So I'll be at the animal booth over at the Cage next week. So if you guys are over at the Arnold, come say hi. I'll probably be doing some meet and greets as well. We'll probably post some times later this week. If you want those with some signatures and some signed printouts, we'll be having those as well over at the Cage. So come stop by the animal booth.
Yep. And if hopefully if she watches this, good luck to Morgan at her event. We'll be pushing for her, pulling for her. But as always, folks, thank you so much for watching. Comment below and let me know when you want more of this handsome gentleman here.
Take care, guys.